Mic check. Mic, yep, all good. Screen share. Doobie doo. All right, this is Rap Raven. This is the Betterment Broadcast. This is the 97th show. All right, remote. Excellent. Full screen. All right, big up everyone. Big up everyone. Big up Ultra. Big up Ultra there. All right, so what do we have today? Let's go through the intro process. Tell a friend we're live. While I'm doing this, what are we doing? Yep, everything's good. It's quite hot in it, man. Put the light on. Yeah, why not? All right, cool. Where are we? So, after much research, I've unfortunately concluded that currently black people are collectively inadequate. That's right. Unfortunately, when it comes to teamwork skills, we seem to be struggling as a collective group. Individually, we show much high, determination, execution. However, when it comes to work as a team, there's bit underdeveloped. So, this broadcast is going to deal with that. All right. So we're going to send the link out. We're going to talk and try to be constructive as best we can. But when we do that, mic check, we want to make sure that we're using the 4D values, which is discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment. I say that again: discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment. So don't forget that, please. Thank you very much. Can using descriptive language instead of derogatory language help black people stay better on topic? I believe so. It can. So we've got some rhymes and some words on the screen at the moment. Feel free to pause it in the future time. Just look over it to make sure more so use the descriptive ones rather than the derogatory ones. But we'll see what happens. See what happens. What is that? All right, cool. We're gonna. Right. What is Black Betterment? Black Betterment is black people helping black people on black issues for betterment. Voila. That's what it is. That's what it is. So cool. So that means this broadcast promotes the lifestyle of black betterment. It promotes the lifestyle of black bearman. That's right. Let me make sure I can still pin. I'm going to see if I can pin things up. Yeah, I can. I think I can. I'll try that. I'll do it later. Put that on that side. Sorry, guys. I've got so many windows open. Just let me get it right. Doobie doo. Put that on. Yep, excellent. Good. Right, cool. Excellent. Now, well, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Okay, so we're going to be showing some videos. Hopefully when you see them, we won't get flagged. It's for journalistic purposes. Copyright Act of 1976. Copyright disclaimer. There you go. But did I put that in the title? I can't remember if I did that. I probably didn't. That doesn't matter. Black Betterment broke. All right, yeah. So if you get time, please visit our Instagram page. Follow it. It's where we're going to promote most things. So do that now. Do that now. Do that now. It's actually in the forum, but I shall post it one more time just so you know you need to follow because that's how it works. So while on Instagram for that one, super good, super good, super good. All right, cool. Now to today's topic. That's right. What is today's topic? I hear you say. So last week we had a very good topic. It was do non-black people use religion to disunite black people? It was a good topic. We didn't really get to the end of it. And we had some people who said they want to speak on it but never had time. So we're going to afford them some time this week. But we also did say we want to cover a very important topic. How do we protect black children from harm and mistreatment? Two stories. One is an ongoing story in the States. I want to say it's Philadelphia. Could be wrong. Should have researched it, but shame on me. Where actually what's happening is if you used to watch Sesame Street, apparently one of the franchise maybe parades or kind of worlds as you go to like a certain event and there's humans dressed in teddy bear costumes and they parade around dancing and entertain the children. Well, what's happening is there's videos of these people with inside these suits, cheering, entertaining the non-black children, but when they get around the black children, they ignore them, and even in some attempts, somewhat assault them. Yeah, pretty much. There's no word to say it really. So yeah, that's what's going on there. Also, for those that don't know, unfortunately, brother John Reed, 14-year-old, I think 14, 15, was murdered by a group of white people who were shouting racist terms towards as I was stabbing him. I think there's an issue where normally in the UK, whenever multiple people do stuff at once, they usually get something that's known as joint enterprise. But in this particular case, there was none, which is interesting. So this is one of the issues that people have it now. But we're gonna go through that. So we've got the 3 topics here. Let us go through. So which one are we gonna start? So let's start with the Sesame Street one. Let's go through that order first. So we'll go through the children ones first, then we'll end on the religious stuff, and then we'll throw a link out so people can jump on. I won't talk too long because, as usual, 2 hours goes very quickly. Yeah, it does for some reason. But I guess we have a good time. Right.
Certain what would possess somebody.
Please.
Where's your brain?
Oh, no, you don't want to see that. That's the advert. Forget that. Don't know what that. Well, then it's non-black owned, so that's right. All right. Where are we? Is it shame what happened to the young brother? Well, he was out robbing people with it. Okay. Well, we like I said, I don't know the ins and outs of it. But like I said, a young person's lost their life, and I haven't seen that report. I don't know who reported that. And he was chased. So it was, regardless of what he might or might not have been doing, he was chased away by a group of people with the intent to kill. That's what happens when you stab people. Right. So let's try to remember that, please. Manchester boy M50. All right. So we're now gonna watch the videos of Sesame Street in the States. No, keep going back. Don't keep going back there, mate. Here we go.
Would possess somebody to push a child. I'm not certain what.
Subscribe now.
I'm not certain what would possess somebody.
There we see. I don't know the characters. You know, I actually had these characters. Oh, I should have read them out. If you guys know these characters, so feel free to shout them out in the group. I know some of you are big fans of the Sesame Street. I mean, we'll call him the Purple Demon for now until we get the proper name. What have you.
Somebody to push a child down like this, but this is completely unacceptable.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what that was about. And now I know this one. I think it's Bert and Ernie, one of them. I think they're the kind of friends who sleep in the same bed, whatever it was. And I think this is one of them slapping a black girl, giving high fives to non-black children. And ignoring the black children and slapping them in the face. While emo was in the back rapping. So once again, this is the subtlety. You have the hip hop of culture, the culture of hip hop. Sorry, African American. They're happy to rap and get money off it, but they won't even high five the children. Some disrespect on so many different levels. It is what it is. Now, I don't know what this one looks more new. I don't remember this one back in the. Why is it going so slow? What's wrong with this machine, man? Yeah. If you remember this one's name, let us know. But whoever this person is, whoever the same person, this seems to be the culprit that seems to be mistreating most black children. So high five repent. Ignores the. I don't know if this is a real one now. I don't know if this is a stage or real, but there was a black parent who saw, I guess, Elmo, who tried to ignore, I believe that's the child, and then I think she put hands on him. I don't know if that was actually true. I hope that wasn't staged, but well done to her. Just letting them know, you get paid to do a service. You don't get paid to mistreat black children. So apparently, Sesame Street was set up something to do with, integration or making black people feel one or something, connected to something like this. I think it happened around about the time, maybe the late 60s, early 70s, where all that stuff was going on. But I don't know. Could be wrong. Could be right. Who knows? So anyway, and I think there was a statement that they did. Oh gosh, this is actually very small my screen, so I'm going to make an attempt to read it, guys. But my screen is exceptionally small. Maybe can I press full screen? Does that work? It doesn't. Oh, it does, but I should make it smaller. It's still the anti-aliasing is terrible. Anyway, Sesame Workshop is aware of the recent incident at the Sesame Place, Philadelphia. That's what it is, which we take very seriously. What these children experience is unacceptable. Very good. Very true. Okay. We have been in contact with Sesame Place, our licensed partner. So it looks like they license out the copyright so people can use their likeness to entertain, I guess. And they have assured us that they will conduct bias training and a thorough review of the ways in which they engage with families and guests. Let's go back on that. So once again, racism was being practiced, and the solution is conduct bias training. Interested? As a global non-profit educational organization with a mission to help children grow smarter, stronger, and kinder, that wasn't happening at the event. Sesame Street has always stood for respect, inclusion, and belonging, and is committed to providing the highest quality, engaging experiences for all children and families. We hold our partners to the same high standards, and we will continue working with our long-term partner, Sesame Place, to ensure that the appropriate actions are taken, and that incident like this do not happen again in future. There are a lot of people calling for people to be. Funny enough, there was no naming and shaming, there was no firing, this kind of stuff. Can you? I don't think we can. You know, that one might have been a phone. I think about the quality. The next videos will be a bit higher quality episode. Or maybe not. Maybe I use compressed videos. Shame on me. But yeah. So go back to Sesame Street stuff. Well, I read it out. So if you could read it, hopefully you could hear my reading. Yeah, no, there was no naming and shaming. There was no like firing. You know, it was quite consistent. It seemed to be quite systematic as well. It seemed to be very deliberate. Yeah, I don't know. It's very, very mild punishment. Once again, you know, this is now the people we're thinking of is a cartoon teddy bear thing. So we don't really know who it is, their history, what they've done, how long they've been doing it, that kind of stuff. So it's, you know, maybe that sabotage. Not sabotage. Is it sabotage? Or is it called sabotage? Not sabotage. I thought that would be quite good to us. Not sabotage. Boycott. Sabotage. But then, you know, once again, you know, we're leaning towards. Remember, when these things keep happening, black people make their own kind of street with people dressed up in teddy bears, smiling and hip hop rapping and this kind of stuff. You know, it shouldn't be that much of an economic challenge to do. Might, you know, and who knows, that might be a good solution. Who knows? All right, cool, fantastico. Now move on to our brothers in the Forever Family. Brother Aspect, he covered, unfortunately, the murder of our young brother John Reed. Let's see what we had to say.
Peace family, reporting right from King Standing. We've just been at the vigil of our young brother who was killed and murdered, yeah? Now, I've been around Brum for the last 2 days. I've heard the side of the story of the people that come from where he was killed, and I've heard the side of the story of the family. And the first thing I've got to say is, just like I said, yeah, when my little brother got run over off the scooter because he stole the scooter, and the people that beat him up, yeah, you big adults, yeah, I don't care what our little brothers have done, yeah, you big adults, when you see our little brothers, you better own them and go through due process, yeah, because you know where it is right there. Touch one, touch two, touch one, touch two, touch one, touch two. That's what we're screaming, yeah. This is the warning. If any more of our little brothers are even a hair on their head is touched, yeah, I'm telling you, you're gonna see more than 100 bites. You're gonna see more than 1,000 people, yeah, because we're not having our little brothers brutalized like this. It's bad enough that we're fighting each other and killing each other in the streets. That's bad enough. Us burying each other because we're killing each other because of the racist system, how they put us in poverty places and they pitch us against each other, that's bad enough, yeah? So to have racist people be murdering our brothers on these roads, but we're not gonna have it. Facts, yeah? And I'll die on that. And there's 1,000 man in Brum that will die on that. And 1,000 man in London, and 1,000 man in Manchester, and 1,000 man in Nottingham. More lions, you better know what time it is. So this is the message we're putting out there. Yeah, this is the message we're putting out there. Touch one, touch two, touch one, touch two, touch one, touch two. To my little brothers, it's bad enough that we're killing each other in the streets, because that even needs to stop. We can't be men, we're not looking after our communities. We're dying before our time. And the worst thing is, it's our mothers who bore us. They're the ones that we leave in pain. And we've got to think about them first. We've got to think about the community first. We've got to think about our family first. Why? Because we're forever family. Forever family. Forever family. Forever family. Forever family. We can't forget this. We can't forget this. Because it's touch one, touch two. If you touch one, touch two. I can't hear you. If you touch one, touch two. If you touch one, touch two. If you touch one, touch two. here to protect our little brothers. And don't get it twisted, we're doing all the work to try and guide our little brothers. We got self-defense training coming for our little brothers. Yeah, we got drill training coming for our little brothers. Yeah, we got opportunities, apprenticeships, insight into entrepreneurship coming for our little brothers. Yeah, so don't get it twisted. We are dealing with the issue that we have in the streets. But what I'm saying is, it's bad enough when we're killing each other on these roads. Yeah, and that's sibling rivalry. That's different from racism rivalry. Because it's your institutional system. You better have some empathy when you're dealing with my little brothers on these roads. Yeah, because it's your racist system that puts us in the poverty places. It's your racist system that robbed us of our culture, our knowledge of self, our more ways and our folk ways. It's your racist institutional system that kicks our little brothers out of school. It's your racist institutional system that works our brothers like dogs to the point where my little brother feels like he's got to go on the roads. And when he gets on the roads, it's a dangerous place. You know, and then they end up fighting each other. So it's your racist system. So when you're dealing with our little brothers, you gotta deal with it properly. Yeah, guys, touch one, touch two. I said touch one, touch two.
Yeah, big up the friend family and bro respect and bros there. Where are we? Let's see if I can get a picture. Hold on. Where are we? Is that one? Yeah, okay. Well, so it's D. John Reed, by the way, family. We were saying John Reed was D. John. Right, so I'm just going to quickly read some of this. So let's looking at the news. The D. John Reed killing. I got no justice as trial, says mother. This is from a mother. The mother of black teenager fatally stabbed by a white boy says if the roles were reversed, her son would have gone down for her. If the roles were reversed, her son would have gone down for murder. So I guess what I mean is, if the John had actually murdered the other individual in a flip situation, it would be murder. And the reason she said that is because unfortunately the murderer was given manslaughter. I guess he's a manslaughterer. I think they call him manslaughter. The John Reed, 14, died in Birmingham last year. A 15-year-old was convicted of manslaughter, but not of his murder. John Morris and her supporters, this is Joan Morris, the mother and supporters, want guardian change to show black jurors at trials where victims were black. So I assume there was no juries who were black at the trials. Very interesting. The magistrate judges said juries were selected at random to ensure a cross-section of society was reflected. But looks like there was no black there. Okay, cool. Well, it happens, I guess. Two other teenagers and two adults, George Kahn, 39, and Michael Shields, 26, were acquitted of murder during the trial in March. So that means I believe there's a group of them chasing him. The jury at Birmingham Court was made up of 11 white people and 1 South Asian heritage. All right. Okay. In England and Wales, Crown Courts, juries and members are selected at random, and challenges can be made, but the current Crown prosecution guidelines do not allow for challenges based on ethnic mix. So I guess they're saying that, you know, you can't pick someone based upon the ethnic background, which is was unfortunate if you suspect racism in practice, or unconscious bias, that kind of stuff. The trials juries were told that John was hunted down by a group of white youths and adults who shouted racial slurs. So what we understand is they were hunted down, they were shouting, you know, derogatory terms to highlight he's African or black descent child. Some were masked and they were armed with wrenches and large kitchen knives. The team was stabbed in front of multiple witnesses, so he was murdered in a public place. Even though all of them were potentially armed, only one of them got to him. Okay, his killer was given a 6.5-year sentence in May this year. Really? His killer was given a 6.5-year sentence in May this year. 6.5. So I've been to many trials. I've been to quite a few trials, and many. You know, I've seen difference given, but I've seen people who haven't murdered be given like 10 to 14 and stuff. So 6 for murder is very good. Welcome, brother Kel. Welcome to the show.
How you doing, brother Ivan?
Very good, thank you very much. Well, very good. Apart from the story here, just about brother D. John in, you know, of the manslaughter case. I guess it's not really murder, apparently, according to this.
Yeah, I remember. It's very interesting as well because that area in Birmingham has always been a very political, of unethical code of conduct for a very long time. And as I said before, there was a lot of gangs that used to protect the African descendant community in Birmingham as well as UK. But I remember there was a particular gang who went into that area in the 90s, and they literally regulated it and told the members, the white members in that place, that if you touch any black person, this was going to happen. And they thoroughly regulated it, and a lot of black people migrated there. So it's very interesting and a shame how last year this happened. But I do remember that area is very very controversial with a lot of racism.
Yeah, I'm looking at the CCTV now and chase it. Yeah, I should have downloaded it, but okay. Yeah, he's being chased by 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like 4. I can see 4 at the moment. Yeah, they all are. Some are covered their face. Yeah, and there's the knife. Yep. Yeah. It was in broad daylight, but their faces were covered. So, I mean, there's that seems to be almost like pre-planned, I guess. Unless, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe this is how people maneuver. But yeah, okay. But it's all called cameras in public. For 6 years, I mean, I've been to many court cases where attempted attacks, or whatever they call it, have been given 10. I don't know if it's different out there, but in London, that's what it was there. So that seems a bit peculiar. Maybe the age, I don't know. Also, there was no joint enterprise, which is also very peculiar. But I think the parents had a good claim that after the shoe be on their foot, he would have been given murder, and joint enterprise would have been used. It's a shame. Okay, so that's a very regretful story there, and then we have to then segue into religion. I think I've done this video. I haven't listened to it properly, but it's an African American brother in Ethiopia talking to Ethiopian brother. And they're talking about the Jesus, because obviously we have to obviously give 1,000 props to the Ethiopian brothers who've always had Ethiopian looking religious imagery and this kind of stuff, and the artworks are really brilliant and stuff. Very, very inspirational, and definitely purchase it if it can be bought. But I think this was at some places maybe they're thinking of implementing a European Jesus. So I haven't heard it properly, so I'm just going to listen to that.
And see most of the so anyway, we see right there behind me is a white long-haired Jesus. Why is that there when you can come through Ethiopia in Lalibela and see in most of the churches black skin, afro like mine, thank you very much, and yours, right? Why is that there? What would your reason or answer would be in your profession that you've been doing this for 5 years?
So, as he also explains that even not the language English of Jesus will become like 500 years or something.
Might be a little longer, longer than that.
Even also this painting right here is not that much elder. It has have maybe 100 years like that.
Okay.
So it will be like people when they went to some places, when they went to cities, they have those influences with a picture of Jesus with those kind of color. So they brought out and they buy in their own affordable, so they present around the churches. But when we see the pictures or ancient manuscripts or ancient paintings on the canvas, or it would be on the mural paintings, we definitely didn't found this kind of color in every churches in Lalibela. Originally from the 12th century, it doesn't have this kind of color. They used to found painting in their own traditional color, which is natural ingredient, and they used it to also their original and the time that they found. They depict that Jesus was real, and they proved out, and they see out from maybe earlier generation, like in the 6th, on the 4th century, on the 1st century also, much closer to the 12th century. So they just depict that they know, and they found out Jesus black. They painted Jesus black in the walls of the churches in their own old manuscripts.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, I wasn't sure. They are. I don't know if he was talking more about the history of why they're black, but yeah. So anyway, we just use that to segue into the topic of. Hold on, let's go back to it. Part 2 of non-black people use religion to non-black people use religion to disunite black people. Part 2. Brother Kel, I understand you might have a few things to say about this potentially. Am I right?
Yeah, definitely. We're going to come up with strategies that can be done to help with this, because it's something, as you've already made it clear already, Brother Raven, it's a problem. Dr. Claude Anderson, in his blueprint, he says that those who have organized themselves and gained wealth and security can dictate who can be white. They can allow those who can be classed as white to access wealth. They can allow who they want from minorities to benefit from that wealth. Then they can dictate culture and then use the religion, and they can dictate to put a business and practice in the religion as it pertains to the race first. So if we codify that, all non-African people rely on the dopamine's devotion to religion that African people have, or African descendants globally, which they know they will not be able to control or differentiate between their culture and religion, unfortunately. And also because of this, the fear of not being accepted by us, or by accepted by them, causes the brain to panic and to make the brain rely on the African identity, which unfortunately is being assassinated daily by non-African people, is not going to work. So we want to use certain psychological and tactics to help the Africans who are in the Abrahamic faith or non-Abrahamic faith, and we want to do that definitely tonight.
I hear that. Just give brother a call sometimes to just set himself. So yeah, dude, there we go. You feeling better, brother Cal?
Yes, bro. I was just waiting for you to
Okay.
you're
on a roll. You're on a roll there. You're on a roll.
Right. Yes, bro. Ready when you're ready.
Oh yeah, carry on. Did you finish what you're saying?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that. Hey guys, for those. Okay, excellent. Yeah. So brother was talking about Claude Anderson and breaking down, some codified ways of how we can get together to try to minimize and eliminate the ability for non-black people to use religion, because once again, many black people become very, like I said, very emotionally connected to all the concepts of religion and how it's presented to them. And as you know, all throughout the diaspora, especially the Abrahamic faith, many people are looking at their faith through the lens of non-black people, whether it's through a media interpretation or it's through a direct person telling them certain things. And unfortunately, if those people, I think last week we showed the advert, and I think we can show it again this week. Just let me see if I can find it. Let's just see video. This is, give me 14 seconds, family. Let's go back to 96 Mormons. Where are we? There we go. I want to say it's this one. Right. So.
Most important person who ever.
Right. So what I'm saying is, this is nothing against the Mormon Church. You know, some of the people, the most nicest people I've ever debated, hands down, is from the Mormon Church. I don't think they can be rivaled when it comes to kind presentation. Well done to them. And they were black as well. Well, some of them. But what I was saying was, yeah, sometimes without even knowing it, people become codified. So you might as well see the Mormon Church, even though anyone can join, it's pretty much run and also run by Europeans, white people. And this is just see if we can find like the kind of interesting ways how they say things and show things. So start again.
Jesus Christ is the most important person who ever lived, and yet there's so much we don't know about him.
All right, so they start by Jesus Christ, most important person that ever lived. They've got people of different ethnic groups holding pictures of him, and they say we don't know much about him, but what they have is a physical painting of him as a Norwegian-looking person. You see, so very powerful. So even though they're saying we don't know what he's like, is that they're still showing a Norwegian picture.
How tall was he? What was his voice like? His eyes? His hands? And so we cherish the Bible, because anything that helps us know him is a treasure. And for millions of people who love the Bible, the Book of Mormon has helped them get an even clearer picture of Jesus Christ. Not how he looked, but how he lived, how he loved. In the pages of the Book of Mormon, they felt how patient he was, how much he loved all of God's children, and how he invited us to do the same. They felt how brave he was, sacrificing everything so we could reach for a second chance, a third chance, as many chances as it takes. And most importantly, they've received a witness that he still lives today.
Okay, cool. Welcome, brother IC3.
Greetings all. Greetings. Yes, good subject today. Greetings, brother Kale.
Good to hear from you. Good to hear from you.
Yes, so to the question, do non-black people use religion to disunite black people? Now, I think my answer to that would be no, because black people have never been united. Yeah, so I would say that non-black people use religion to make sure that black people never get united, because if they do get united, then the whole world as we know it would be, I could say, well, when I use the word world, the world is a white world on this planet. The world is the system, so it's a white supremacist system. So for black people to unite, it will be the creation of another world. So there'll be two worlds fighting on the very planet, two totally different systems. So so the use of religion is to prevent the creation or formation of an alternative world, a black world. That's what I have addressed that.
Thank you, Brother IC3. Brother IC3 just said, unfortunately, there hasn't, according to him, been much of a unification prior to that. So, it's actually, it maintains that there is no kind of unification. So it hasn't even had the chance to become disunited as of yet. So I guess the question would be, what would be a way to minimize black people, non-black people, from being able to practice these kinds of codes of conducts that they do when they use religion to, I guess, control black people, or to keep, because I've seen it myself in Speaker's Corner. It's very evident, like you'll go there and then you'll see people of certain faiths jumping in.
Yeah, I've seen you on video dealing with that very point. Yes, yeah.
Quite consistently. And as you
Yeah.
know, with the
They steam in and disturb the vibe completely. Yes. Yeah.
yeah. Now with Speaker's Corner, you tend to find it's like 90% Islamic, different slight Islamic sects, but generally Islamic. And so because it's 9%, you find I tend to find more of it coming from there, and because it's coming from the Muslim community, you tend to find that if I am ever talking to black people, generally more so in the past, you tend to find people of maybe Asian descent, Arab descent. So you're looking at like Pakistan, maybe India,
Yeah.
Afghanistan, some North Africans as well, maybe like
Yeah.
Algeria, Morocco, that kind of thing. They'll jump in and also European
That's
as
right.
well. So, yeah, some Europeans who converted, they will do it as
That's
well.
right.
And they're very quick to jump in to say no, we're one
That's
and
right.
one. That you're causing division, this kind of stuff.
Exactly. Unbelievable.
Go ahead, brother. Did you want to say something, brother Carl? You said something, huh?
Well, the thing is, Brother Raven, is that we have to, for example, codify it. So all non-African people, their mindset is that they will trigger in the African who's in those religions that you are not a member of our religion, whether it be in disagreement towards them connecting with their people or to control them developing. So how it works is the brain in the African descendant who's in those religion, the brain's panicking and it wants to survive. So because it's in that situation, right, it's in certain mindset. So the brain has to be programmed to release dopamines, devotion, religion in the African descendant who's in those religion, due to the fact that the identity of being an African won't release any good dopamines. So the strategy that I've come up with, brother, is that if you can imagine that, you walk normally left foot, then right foot, or though sometimes right foot to left foot, or if in a wheelchair you use your arms. And what we want to do is, brother, that we want to use this strategy that like your left foot is assessing the information when you're dealing with non-African people, and the right foot is to refute the resistance with the proof. And it's very important that the African descendant understands that. And we definitely have to understand that the brain needs to rely on the correct knowledge of the religion that they're in for security and protection. So the African descendant, for 5 minutes, is that for 2.5 minutes, they learn about that religion that they're in properly, right? And then the other 2.5 minutes, they learn about their culture. And if they do that for 10 minutes, dividing it 5 minutes, the same, learn about your culture for 5 minutes, and then the religion, and it progresses to 20 minutes daily. What will happen is, brother, that the brain will naturally be synchronized with that technique. And then it will release the dopamines when they're in that situation with African people, that instead of them relying that they won't be a member of that faith, because they've been practicing that exercise every day, that they automatically will synchronize with half of my brain is my culture, the other half is my religion, and that's how they'll be able to battle it, if that makes any sense.
So what Brother Kerry is saying is through this process of talking about religion for 50%, and then talking about their cultural norms for 50%, whenever I guess they start feeling happy, that it might be synonymous. It might release the dopamine, as brother says, in unison.
Can I? Yeah, I would like to. What do you think of this? I think Speaker's Corner is a good place to test models of Black organization, and watching how you operate, Brother Raven, at Speaker's Corner, your model, and also comparing it to the Nation of Islam's model. I think it requires something in between, a new model, because the Nation of Islam, when they're at Speaker's Corner, they come as a team, as a unit, very structured, and so you can almost see the wall. There's us, and then there's you lot. Yeah. So the Nation of Islam is strong in their position there, but I feel that it doesn't have the same. It's like two extremes. Your style is you just go there, correct me wrong, and just start general conversation about black issues, black betterment, and then that attracts different black people who want to join in and just join in the chat. But in that openness of just a conversation about black betterment, in that openness, you don't have the walls of like Nation of Islam. That allows different black people from different faiths and different angles and different political ideas to come in to the circle and join in the conversation. But because there's no walls, other people see that the conversation amongst black people is getting really interesting and positive. So they feel, because there's no walls, they're going to jump in as well and say, well, it's Speaker's Corner, it's free speech. Why don't you give us a chance to give our opinion? You might say, well, this is a black betterment conversation, and we're trying to sort things out amongst ourselves. But say, well, I see myself as black, I see myself as African. So you can see the two extremes. One, the openness of your style, in contrast to the closeness of the Nation of Islam. So what model would be somewhere in the middle where you could have that openness? Do you understand the point I'm making, or is it not making sense?
Yeah, very important, good point. I guess with the brothers of the Nation of Islam, they come in a uniform and as a collective, so you kind of understand that it's harder to heckle and change the path because they've got like a structure there. What I would say, some ideas that might work is maybe things like to announce Black Betterment banter days where we invite as many black people down maybe once a month or something, I don't know. And then the idea is maybe there's a particular topic, but it's generally just for the optics of many black people in one space talking about black stuff. So there's a culture that maybe once a month we have a black banter month or whatever, right? And then obviously there'll be a key kind of topic. And I think, because funny enough, nowadays when I go there, it really is just black people. The thing is, it is also about your speakers as well. Like someone like me, some things might come across as controversial. I'm quite dedicated to black people. I'm quite dedicated to speaking about only black people. The other black members who might be surrounding me, they also, their style and the way they set up their platforms, they almost invite non-black people to come and I think I'm well known for being exclusively black in the content, while others are more well known for being more, everyone's welcome, everyone has an opinion, that kind of stuff. And I think in order to really have a conversation with the community, you have to have a conversation with the community, and you have to establish a community and talk to them. So that's why within the rule set of Black Betterment is black people helping black people on black issues for betterment. So the very lifestyle itself only allows inward solution solving. And I think that might be something that we spell out, so when people come, they're really aware. Oh, that's Black Betterment. Yeah, that we can watch, but that's as far as it goes.
But brother,
right? But how are you going to do that? You see, that's the magic.
And that's what I was saying before, because there's nothing wrong with non-African people being in Speaker's Corner, and of course, right. But the issue is that they have the ability that if Brother Raven or the Honorable Leo Muhammad or whoever it may be, right, is speaking to help out the black people, right, the non-Africans who are in the Abrahamic faith, right, they have the ability to trigger an African descendant who's in those religions to make him or her feel that if you do this, you are not a member of the religion. That's why I was focused on dopamines. So whether they're there or not, or whether they're in your house, the fact that they have that ability to trigger the dopamine devotion religion in the African descendant who's in those religion is very
Yes.
detrimental. And this is why I
Yes.
was saying techniques that the African descendant must sit down at home, right, and train his dopamines to make the brain rely on surviving, that instead of having all your foot in the culture, you need to have it in the culture and the religion. If he does that, when he's in speaker's corner or her, or when they're around in different places where non-African people can trigger the religion, the brain will panic to say, if I don't use both my religion and culture, right, then I'm going to be uncertainty. But if they train themselves, then the dopamine will be released that in order for me to deal with the non-African who's in the Abrahamic faith, I must use my culture and religion. That has to be the solution, Elder.
What, interesting. What do you think of this? You know, if you, Brother Rain, was to go there and say you had a poll about head height, over your head height, so that so it touches the ground, so your arms wouldn't get tied, and then on that pole you have a sign and saying Black Betterment Conversation. So what happens, and then when you stand still with that sign above your head, Black Betterment Conversation, right? Well, when you know, when the crowd starts gathering, Black people start gathering, because that's how it will start. The conversation starts, and then sometimes people start arriving later, but they don't really know what the conversation is about, and they try and listen into what the conversation, but they don't actually know the theme. They think that it just happened to be, unless you keep saying Black Betterment, people lose track of the purpose that you set. But if you have the sign there, people know that you can always say, I'm standing here to talk about Black Betterment. You have come to this little zone underneath this sign, so you're kind of setting up the tone of the space, because it's culture war, it's war, and so you don't have to keep reminding. You keep trying to bring it back to Black Betterment, because you've planted your stake, as it were. That this is the purpose of this circle. So when other people come in and start trying to knock it off the subject of Black Betterment, you can say, well, could you please take that conversation over there? You can see that I've been standing here with this sign. So you can see that I am trying, or I am working to bring the focus of those that gather around me to talk about Black Betterment. If you want to talk about this or that, could you just walk over that way, please? And while we continue, in a conversation, we were here first. It's almost like you catch what I'm saying. It's the space. You've got to plant a stake. It's a way of focusing the energy.
But Alda, let's say, for example, now, right, there are certain words that you can hypnotize one another. For example, love is one. If you are in a certain state and you develop compatibility and attraction, a woman or a man who's in that state, they can trigger you off by saying the word love, you see, or I hate you, or things like that. Now these words, right, when you're under a certain state, are very hypnosis and can make you be a certain mindset in a trance, right? Now, if we look at the African who are in those faiths, right, if we hold a sign, as you says, right, and it's a brilliant idea, right, the non-Africans, Elder, right, and I'll say this again, and that they have the ability to keep the African descendant who's in those religions in a trance. They can hypnotize them. So if Brother Raven says this, right, Black people work on black issues only, right? And a follower of the Abrahamic faith, as it pertains to an African descendant, is there. They know that it's correct, but then the non-African will say this, but what about your religion? You see? Now, because
Yeah, that's right.
yes,
That's
brother,
yeah,
it's very deep. Because
yeah,
we our dopamines towards our African identity, right,
yeah.
has no value. We
Hmm.
will more lean towards there's value in being uh, a Muslim, a Christian,
Yeah,
because it will it doesn't remind me that I'm an African, you see. So
yeah.
if there is a set of people that has the ability, Elder, to trigger that you are not a member, right, then the Africans using the Abrahamic faith will sabotage the whole movement just by them saying you are not a member of our religion. And this is the problem that we're trying to tackle.
Yes, but the counter. How do you counter that energy? See that magic. You see, we're talking with the level you're talking there. You see, they're gonna come with those trigger words. See, but I'm saying that by having that by having that sign there, and you don't move around Speaker's Corner, you just stand in one place with that sign, and then whoever comes into the circle around that sign, right? It it it, it counters that energy that you're talking about, Brother Kale, because you can say you've come into this energy space. You're trying to bring that. You're trying to trigger that guilt in the people that are gathered in the discussion, right? But you are the outsider. I stood here with the sign, and the focus of the conversation is black betterment. It's about black people talking about black betterment. And in this circle, under this sign, the focus is black betterment. And we put our Christian values, Muslim values, are second in under this sign. That is why I've come here, and that is why I have this sign, and I've stood still here. You have come here into this circle. You, if you want to go and push your religion, your angle, well, you go over there in your sign. You are interrupting the purpose of this circle.
So,
But Elder, go on, brother.
I was just going to say, any brothers and sisters listening, feel free to jump in. And something I'm very aware of, there are many brothers and sisters who might be in certain kind of faiths, and they keep very quiet when it comes to speaking out publicly, join any forums, and they listen, and they're well aware of maybe some of the pressures they go through, but because of the situations they're in, they don't want to rock the boat. I'm well aware of that. And I guess at some point we're going to try to find solutions for that.
That's right.
I remember I was at Speaker's Corner where one brother came up to me and he said, "Oh, can if you get rid of the word black or don't use the word African." So it was like, I think he was trying to say, don't use any kind of like grouping words. Just say you want to help people, then I can come along. This kind of stuff.
Yeah. You have to plant a stake in the ground. That's what they mean. That's what it means. Plant your stake, your flag.
But Elder,
in war, in war. Listen, in war, the flag is very important. When because that's what they use to draw the maps. If they say the Russians are coming and the Russians have taken such a city, oh, how do you know the Russians have taken it? Because they can see the flag. Look, the Russian flag is flying on the building, or the American flag is flying. So you have all the soldiers, you have the guns, the bullets, the tanks, everything. But where is the flag? The flag is the sign of how you've taken territory.
But Elder, in the Haitian Revolution, right? Jean-Jacques Dessalines, alongside General Bookman, when they done a successful, revolt And by the way, there were different religious Africans in that revolution as well, which is very interesting. But those Africans who are in those religious beliefs fighting in the Haitian Revolution understood that it's not a religious liberation, it's an African liberation.
Right.
So when Jacqueline, you know, had a successful result, Napoleon Bonaparte came to him, Elder, and said to him, "You are a fellow Christian, and you
That's
are
what messed him up. Yeah.
a
Go ahead.
fellow Frenchman."
That's
Now,
right.
the ancestor, in his magnificent personification and that, right? We understand what happened there because of our dopamines that we want to be accepted by non-African
Right.
people, right?
Oh,
The ancestor
dreadful.
chose that now I am accepted because I am a Frenchman and I'm a
Yes.
Christian. Went
Yes.
to France and was
Oh.
never ever seen again.
Seen
The point
again.
is,
That's
Elder,
right.
what I'm trying to help the youth with, and I appreciate Brother Raven, is that the youth has to do homework of controlling their dopamines and matching their dopamines with learning their culture and religion at the same time. You see,
Right. Correct.
if
Correct.
they do this,
Right.
if they do this, when the
Yes.
non-African person uses those hypnosis words, right,
Yes. They can counter.
their brain will rely on, if the only way for me to survive is using my culture and religion, right, at the same time. But because
Right.
we don't do that, our dopamines is religion, devotion for non-African people. If Brother Raven has that sign, as you said, right, a non-African person can do what Napoleon Bonaparte did to our ancestor Jacqueline, that is a problem. And that's what we need to focus on, Elder, is controlling the dopamine, swapping it for learning both our culture and religion. So if a non-African person, right, try to tell you cannot marry a black woman in those religions, the dopamine will say, in order for me to feel good, I've got to use my culture and religion to combat this instead of the other way around. That makes any sense.
Yes, it makes sense. But you see, what how do you counter that? I'm saying that the sign properly used, just like the flag, is the counter. It will stop that problem. I'm saying if Brother Raven goes to Speaker's Corner and the sign is designed, the sign is designed in the right way, and he just plants a stake there and stands still and let people come, and it sets the tone, and I'm telling you, I am 100 convinced it will counter, because when people start firing those code words, as you're saying, Brother Kale, right? It's because Brother Raven has not moved from that point, and he's planted the stake, and he's setting the tone of the conversation. He's setting the tone, and he can always bring it back. He can bring it when the conversation drifts away from Black Betterment. He can bring it back to the stake. He can bring it back to the flag.
I think both good points. I think what the difference is, I think there is a value in setting up a situation where you clearly state this is the purpose of this meeting, and people come with that agenda. I think maybe what it might correct what Brother Kerr is saying is you might get brothers who won't even approach such a discussion because they're already deeply under the trance of a non-black person, and the words they've said.
It's okay. We'll leave them then. Don't worry.
Yeah,
they will come as the you see, you've got to set the standard, you've got to set the quality, you've got to set the energy, and then let people will come when they're ready. But because sometimes some people will come and they'll see you with that sign, and they'll see that maybe you've got a small group having a conversation there, but at least people know it's like a bank. It's like a bank. They know what you're about. They can see what you're about, and they know that the people around that sign, that is what they're talking about. And they will come and join in the conversation when they're ready. You just hold the space.
So maybe maybe once a month, this is a concept prototype. We could have like an official, invite as many constructive black people down as possible to talk, and then have a big discussion. That might be an interesting thing. I don't know if or when it will happen, but that might be an idea to set something up that. And then by people getting used to that, the cultural norm of it, and then within that kind of discussion, we can have a segment where we talk about people's culture and the strategies of making a person know culture and religion synonymously, so they have a backup plan, so they don't just fully rely on a religion that allows someone to control it. Am I far back? Sorry, guys. Maybe I was too far back.
Yeah, you're more clear now.
Oh, sorry
Okay.
about that.
I heard you, but I still disagree. I think that the power to overcome the challenges that Brother Kale was mentioning is consistency. You've got to plant a stake. Don't trying to set up dates and this and trying to gather people. No, just all you need to be is consistent and hold a space consistently, and then the power will grow from there. The energy will grow from there. If you can't say, "Oh, trying to get everybody to come down next month and we're doing this once a month," no, just hold a space, and that space has a specific purpose. It doesn't matter if 2 people arrive. It doesn't matter if 10 people arrive. It doesn't matter if 30 people arrive one week and then it's 2 people. It doesn't matter. You hold the space like a bank.
Well, Alda, Brother Raven, and I've seen some stuff in Speaker's Corner, right? Due to his great marketing skills, right, is that he's able to draw the crowd in. But the issue is, and this is why we have to return back to political science again, right? That the political science is, understanding and dealing the state of a system, of its political activities and its behavior, thoughts, which governs the people. Now, non-African people, right, whether we like it or not, neither one of them practice the religion correctly. In fact, for an African descendant who are in those religions to make alliance and commitment to people who have broken treaties historically in those religions is insane in itself, right? At the same time, we have to understand is that they have more hypnosis power than Brother Raven, than any other African descendant freedom fighter, so to say, because if we don't tackle psychologically how to make the African descendant rely on culture first, right, they will sabotage the movement. For example, we look at the Nation of Islam, right, and I know this because I grew up on Pan-Africanism, right. Now, the Elijah Muhammad, of course, was a student of Bishop Henry Miller McTurner, right? Now, when you understand that type of curriculum, right, you are taught, right, your dopamines must be African and race first. I cannot emphasize it more. That is what you're taught. So that means if you're in any religion, the race comes first. If you're in a religion of Christianity, you have to marry a black Christian woman. If you're in a religion of Islam, you have to marry a black Muslim woman. It's race first. You see what I mean in that, right? So when the Nation of Islam are together, no non-African person can hypnose them with any foolishness. They codify it, break it down, and remove it. You see? But if the people around who haven't controlled their dopamines out there, they will unite with non-African people, which they do anyway, and they will be used, and then they will sabotage, which we have seen recently and even historically, the movements. The psychological thing is what we have to focus on. That is more important. How do we get them?
They can't sabotage it, Kale. They can't, Brother Kale. They can't sabotage. If Rat Ray was to go there, every time he goes there, just keeps up the position with that sign and plants that stake, and whether somebody comes to talk to him or not, this is the Black Betterment space. If you're coming here, if you're coming to talk to me, this is what I'm talking about. You got to plant that stake. It can't be done. It can't be taken out. I'm telling you, can't.
I think I agree with both, but I think definitely there's value in both. But I think there is an issue where there are some brothers of different faiths, whatever, who they've been conditioned to be like faith first, and even at their own detriment. So they'll articulate, many people in this cultural group of non-Black people mistreat me in the same faith, but despite them mistreating me daily, and I know I'll never be equal in their eyes, whatever, I still will practice my faith first. People will come out as they want you to know this.
Yeah, but you got to demonstrate your faith. Their faith is this. They're doing this, so it doesn't matter. You got to say, if you believe in Black Betterment, you got to demonstrate it. This is my faith. You see here, I'm planted that stake here. This is what I'm here for. This is what I'm here to talk about. And I'm here on a regular basis. And this is the focus. When you come into my space, if you're coming to speak to me, you know that you got to show that it's your faith. So if you're coming to talk to me, what are we talking before? You know what I'm about. This is what I'm about. And this is where I am. You want to talk or not? Simple.
Anyone in the? I believe the link to the chat is stuck in the top bit. I hope so. I haven't checked it. If not, let me post it again, just in case. Just in case. Where is it? There we go. So if you got anything to say, just let us know. Yeah. Just jump in. Have your opinion. Your experience. Any experience? Are you a person of a particular faith who find yourself having to explain, or you feel challenged not to, unite with Black people over like certain things because people of a non-Black persuasion persuade you to not do this, and they use maybe religion as the number one tool or number one reason why you shouldn't? Do you notice any hypocrisies where you might be in your, whether it's church, synagogue, or a mosque, or whatever it might be, and a certain group of people are doing community work to their particular community, but when you try to push for your community, you're disparaged, or you said no, we can't do that, or maybe they say it's too one-sided. Who knows? Let us know. We don't know. You know. Let us know. Let us know.
Yeah.
Click in the
link.
How?
So Brother Kale, how do you counter the problems that you've mentioned? How do you change that mindset or counter the dopamine? What is the action?
I said it before. So for example, I use the strategy, right? That, for example, when we walk, some of us, we walk our left foot first, and then our right foot first, and then left, or if you're in a wheelchair, you use your hands. And what you have to do... I
heard that, but I don't understand the application. And it's all symbolism in practical terms.
Yeah, and that's what I'm doing now, Alda, is that your left foot, when you're dealing with non-African people, if you can imagine putting your left foot first and your right foot back in a orthodox stance, so to say. So the left foot is assessing the info, right? What the non-African is using to control you. And the right foot, which is the back, is used to refute resistance with the proof to counteractive. So
okay, hold it there, Brother Kel. Are you saying, for example, Brother Raven should go down Speaker's Corner and put his left foot in front of his right foot, and then when he's going to change subject, he changes it to right foot in front of the left foot? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying symbolically that is what the
no. Cut out the symbols. Cut out the symbols. What do you mean exactly in real terms?
So what I mean is that the left foot should be used for assessing the situation. So when the non-African person,
but you don't use the left foot as a symbol. I asked you if you're using the left foot. Do you want, brother? Let's visualize this. So brother Raven goes down to Speaker's Corner and puts his left foot in front of his right foot. You're saying no, it's not. Doesn't mean that literally. What are you talking about then? I don't understand.
That's exactly what should be done. Right.
Oh,
that's
right. You're
exactly
saying physically as well.
Yeah.
Physically.
But if you let me finish, then I can explain it and go in detail, right? Is that the African descendant must be in that routine. These are psychological tactics, right? So your left foot is assessing the information. In other words, when they're saying that if you help your people out and they disagree with you connecting with your people, right, you have to assess the information that you need to know your religion, right, in order to assess the situation, whatever religion you are.
Let's slow it down. Let's go bit by bit.
All right,
so you're saying, let's go bit by. Let's slow it down. So, so whether Brother Rainbow was at Speaker's Corner by himself or a group of maybe 3 or 4 black brothers go down there, they have a kind of a code of operation, so that all of them will stand with their left foot forward under certain circumstances, and then if it switches, Brother Raven will switch and then put his right foot forward, and then everybody will, as a military formation, will also put their right foot forward, and that's almost a symbol of the change of conversation. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. If you want to,
interesting.
So the left foot is assessing the info. The right foot is resisting the foolishness, what the non-African will say, by you using the proof and evidence.
Okay,
right?
hold it. So this is quite interesting. Right. So what we're saying here is that a group of black people at Speaker's Corner, a small group, whether it's 2, 3, or 4 or 5. That's quite interesting. That's kind of a halfway between how the Nation of Islam moves and how Raven's moving. Okay, that's interesting.
But at the same
and then
time,
people. One second. So other people come and start saying, "Wait a minute, those group of black people there in the black Betterment. I mean, notice that they're all moving their legs in harmony, in unison." Like they're marching. Whoa.
Yeah, it's like a synchronized psychological tactic, right? Your left foot is affecting the info, your right foot is resisting and giving the proof what is come to control your dopamine. However, when we look at it on the mentality way, is that the African descendant needs to get the brain, right, to survive on two minutes and a half, learning about the religion properly that the non-African people are in. The other 2 minutes and a half that they learn about their culture. And if they do that every single day, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, then the brain will naturally survive on when I am in a situation where I feel like I'm going to be attacked by non-African psychologically with a religion, right? The brain will release the dopamines that you have to use your culture and religion to tackle the situation, and that's what I'm promoting.
Hold it there. Hold it there. So basically, if a group of black people were behaving like that physically at Speaker's Corner, they will be demonstrating that kind of physical activity as a form of and so therefore when people come and see Brother Raven's group making movements like that physically to go with their conversation at the same time, by observing that, they might say, wait a minute, I'm going to try this when I get home, or I'm going to try this when I'm at work.
Yes,
it's a physical thing. It's a physical ritual. It's a new ritual that I've never seen before. And I've seen it for the first time at Speaker's Corner, where you have a group of people, black people, when they're talking about black betterment, somehow they synchronize their leg positions.
Yes.
Wow.
That's right, But
that's
it must
interesting.
But it must be backed up. with the psychological strategy, what I mentioned, that they have to be doing the homework.
We don't need all that talking because that's too much talking. If people can
No,
just see,
I'm on about for them, Elder, because as I said to you before, right? Black people have dopamines, right, for non-African people. Do you understand? Right?
I
So
know.
you understand?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
as I said to you before, right, in order for that leg movement to work, right, you have to do homework of making the brain survive on 2.5 minutes, learning about your religion correctly. The other 2.5 minutes, learning about your culture
They're not going to
correctly.
do that, Brother Kel. They've got to
It's gonna have
see.
to
They've got
be.
to see it being done. They're not going to go home and do that unless they start seeing the functional, and they've got to see the power. They've got to see that this small group of black people, when they talk about black betterment, they're moving in a codified way, and then they'll feel inspired to want to take that ritual home and do it. You can't be preaching them, telling them that the value of it. They can't see the value of it until they see the power of it.
But it can only work if they train their brain to know that.
How are they going to train their brain unless they see it?
Because the left foot assessing the information, right, is symbolically of your religion or your culture first, and the right foot of resisting.
I know that you keep saying the same thing.
They have to do that, brother. They have to do that, Elder. It's the only way.
They're not going to do that unless they see it function. They're going to see that a group of black people somehow they are able to sustain good conversation within a certain space at a certain time, and they got to see the power. They've got to see the consistency. They got to see it working first. Just preaching that, just telling them that this left to right, just talking is not. It's telling them that they've got to go home and do this. It's not going to work. They've got to see that. Wait a minute, you lot are doing it, and it works. I've seen how you are able to sustain good conversation on the topic of black betterment, regardless of other people coming in trying to disrupt the conversation. I've seen the power of your order. How do you do it?
Mm-hmm.
Then you can say, well, this is what we're doing, and this is how it's done.
Okay. So yes. Yeah. I agree.
So setting up exercises of how it's done, if you know. So I take it when we say culture, are we saying the particular culture of where the individual comes from, i.e. the ethnic culture, or is it the culture of just Africanity, blackness, that kind of stuff?
But it is culture. What Brother Cale said.
Right.
Oh, listen, what Brother Cale has just said, that little ritual for that little black betterment ritual, right? It is the seeds, it's the foundation of a culture. It is culture. This is what we do. This is how we do it. That is culture. That is behavior. So when we talk about black betterment, that is a mental thing and a spiritual thing, but we also have a physical. When we do it, this is how we move. This is the stance. It's a stance. This is the stance. It's almost like a fighting stance, isn't it? You could southpaw.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. So when we come with the left hooks, this is the stance we have with our left hooks, and then
that's right.
Yes, I mean that is good, Brother Kel. That sounds good. That sounds strong. That is the beginning. That's what I was driving at the beginning of the conversation when I come in. What is the medium? What is halfway between the Nation of Islam and Brother Raven's tactics, his style? What is halfway? That is halfway. And it's beautiful because when the Nation of Islam come, they have to find this little corner of Speaker's Corner, and then set up with their, but this style that you've described, it can happen, it can take place. This order can manifest at any time in any place, and
I
it can
do it all
move.
the time. I do all the time. My family, we do all the time, and that's why I'm saying these are psychological tactics, because you have to get the brain to understand your reality. So it definitely works. And Brother Raven, when he's doing his organized, as you said, there has to be some examples that are doing it. So when they go, "Oh, what are you doing?" Then you can explain it. But it must be
Exactly. That's
tactic
right.
as well
And they
as
can see
physical.
that.
Yeah.
Actually, it's brilliant. It's actually brilliant. It's bang on. It's bang on when I keep thinking about it. Just to think of it, just visualize it. In the chaos, this wonderful chaos of Speaker's Corner, you got all these people shouting this and that, and all, doing their preachers, and you have the Nation of Islam over there doing their thing. But then you have, just like they used to say, have what they call the G circle. The G circle was like it's an attempt at synchronization. It was an attempt, but what you've described is a lot more powerful than the G circle. It's a lot more powerful.
It will help with synchronizer. And when I'm talking about culture, I'm talking about the code of conduct in nationalizing.
It is culture. What you described is culture. It is a code of conduct, and culture is constructed. Culture is constructed by codes of conduct. The culture is a new culture, a new vibe, a new style coming into being. That's immediate.
We give thanks to Brother IC3 and Brother Kel for the build. If there's anyone else in the forums who would like to jump in or ask a question, now's your time. We are very aware that there are some people who might be nervous, or a bit slightly intimidated, especially if they belong to a collective group, a multi collective group where they can't ask questions because they're always being watched and supervised, this kind of stuff. But hopefully, as time goes by, we can create the institutions where you're more comfortable to join. And as Brother Kel was saying, we'll give you the methods to control the dopamine. So when you think of the code of conduct, when you think of the culture, when you think of Black betterment and Pan-Africanism and all these things that dedicates Black people, helping Black people, your dopamines will explode tremendously. And, it will motivate you to be synchronized with what everyone else is doing when we're trying to seek betterment.
Yeah.
Because what you were saying there, Brother Kel, is seen in the statues of Kemet. They got 1 foot forward. Haven't they? They have the left foot forward.
It's culture. Yeah,
carved into the stone. Yeah.
It's symbolically, we've always been in tune with these types of tactics, and we have to have this mindset, because, as you said already, it's a problem. I'm not being disrespectful to the followers of the Abrahamic faith or even non-Abrahamic faith, but they are very if that mindset is not correctly understood, they've definitely helped out in sabotaging our movements, and we want to limit that. So strategies must come forward.
That is so powerful. It's powerful, Brother Kel, what you just said there. It's magnificent in its simplicity. In its simplicity, that's where the power is. Simplicity. And people just start seeing the shuffling of because the stance is so important. Even if you're fighting, fighting, you got to check the person's stance.
Yeah, it's very important. It is.
Yeah. Very, very important. Your stance. It's a foundation from which you launch your attack or your defense.
That's right. Yeah.
I've never seen it like that. I'm just visualizing what you've said there. That is incredible. It's incredible.
Brother Kel did mention that, unfortunately, whenever you get some of these conversations going on, you'll find some people where they don't get any value in their Africanity, their melanin, their blackness, their cultural conducts, whatever. So the only thing that they sense value in is the perceived brotherhood or sisterhood that they find within their faith. So I guess another thing is, how do you create, should there be the agenda to create better brotherhoods for Black people, as in how we create that sense of community, that sense of welcome, that sense of we've got your back ism, and that might
He's done it. Yeah, but Brother Kel's answered all those questions in that one thing. It's done. It's done. I'm telling you, it's done. He's saying, basically, if there's only 3 of you going down there and you're all doing your left foot and right foot stance maneuver, 3 of you coordinated, other people may just join in just for fun because think it's a laugh. But then after a while, you just keep going, doing what you do, that ritual, and then people join in. They will join in. They will join in. It becomes a trend. Someone just take it as a fashion, fun fashion, but it's serious. Yeah, it's serious. Some people do it for a laugh and say, "Oh, look, the Black Betterment group over there. They're a laugh. Come and look at them. Come and look at them doing their leg shuffling," and they will start laughing. But what happens is you just keep doing it, and it becomes a culture. People will join in. Absolutely, he's done it. He's answered everything you just said. All the questions you just fired just then. That maneuver, that stance code, that codification of stance, it covers the physical, the mental, and the spiritual all in one go. They don't look like because when you think about it, if you got just 5 or 6 people coming together, and they're all just look like a rabble. People can't really see that there's an order there, but if they physically seem to appear to a holding stance, they can see that there's an order there. There's an order, and it's an order under a particular banner, a flag, which is Black Betterment.
I've seen the way how non-African people, man, the way they control the situation with those Black people in those face, man. It's phenomenal the way how they have that control, how they can persuade you not to build with your people, and it's some form of like vile or evil thing, and I've seen it, and it's amazing how, and then the Black person will say to himself, "I'm doing wrong," and then they will leave and help the non-Africans, and then it's phenomenal. But it's definitely a psychological tactic, and we have to codify it, man. And we're grateful for Brother Raven's the Black Betterment lifestyle, and it's a magnificent a blueprint. And at the same time, we need more psychological tactics, but it's a very it's horrendous and horrific to see our people be persuaded away from building with us who are oppressed so much by those who've taken everything, and then they're gonna tell you can't help your people out. It's phenomenal, man. But yeah.
But Mr. Salute, you presented the solution tonight, because this is how I'm visualizing it. In the chaos of Speaker's Corner, if you had somebody like Brother Raven say, okay, so would you say, is this how it works, Brother Kel? So do you have to have a leader, who leader in performance? So in other words, that if Brother Raven was there with the sign Black Betterment, and then he's there with his left foot forward, right? And then anybody joining the conversation, you say, we're talking about Black Betterment. Those of us who are interested in the topic, could you please put your left foot forward as we converse? Just left foot forward. If you see me swap stance and put my right foot forward, that means we have negative energy coming in here. That new person that's coming to try and disrupt the conversation. So if anybody comes in and tries to disrupt the conversation, I'm going to switch stance. If you see me switch stance, that means everybody on code, we switch stance together.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Welcome, Brother Issa. I think your mic might be on. I'm not too sure if you meant to be. Sorry about that. Okay, Brother Issa, you there?
Sorry, Fab. Yeah, I just closed the other window or muted it.
There you go. Yeah, well, welcome. For those joining, this is part 2 of Do Black People Use Religion to Disunite Black People? In this week, Brother Kel has pushed forward concepts of trying to balance out the dopamines in Black people's heads, so they value the culture and the culture of Black Betterment and Black people helping each other. They made that part of the norm. So if you teach at an equal level, you teach about the religion at the same time about Black Betterment, then they have something to balance. Unfortunately, many people don't value Africanity, blackness, melanin, and these kinds of things. So they might swing towards more religious terms from non-Black people, this kind of stuff. So this is what Brother Kel was talking about. Anything to add, Brother Issa, the Black Tech?
Yeah, I do think, number one, we seem to underestimate, again, brother, it's like I do see a great underestimation when putting so-called Abrahamic faiths together, and in fact any other ideology or religion. When you study these religions, Islam or Orthodox Islam is nothing like the rest, and it can be the best thing for us, and at the moment it's the worst thing for us, and especially in this day and time where it would have been such a great liberation movement. It is the greatest detriment we've got, and it's the one that's used so easily to get at least the ones, let's say, amongst a group of blacks, the ones which would have been the frontliners, the workers, the ones that would put in the work. A lot of them are the ones that converted, and a lot of their work and effort is going towards all these non-black, anti-black devils, and they use the religion consistently. And one of the things they say is, well, when you're my Muslim brother, while they're practicing anti-blackness. And the thing is, they then come up with all the hadith about you should forgive your brother, 70 times or 73 times, and so on and so forth. They come up with all the excuses. Our brother, no one's perfect. Inshallah, Allah will reward you in hereafter. All of these, excuse after excuse after excuse. And, where the brother's talking about the dopamine thing, 100%. It is an association where, obviously they didn't consciously do it this way, but that's how it works, is where that feeling and that vibe towards these people is that we forgive them. But at the same time, I never forget it in relation to Black Christianity, in which, when it's a white racist movement, I remember Black Christians would talk about, may God forgive them, they know not what they do. And when it's a pro-black movement, they've got this enmity towards them, and they're causing problems, and they're the destruction, of their enemies of God and all of this. They've got all these other verses to recite for them. Do you see what I mean? And coming back to, Orthodox Islam, it's the way in which it works as a practical ideology is something which we need to focus on a hell of a lot more. And I do find a lot of Pan-African brothers seem to be failing miserably with dealing with this particular issue. As we can see, clearly they're the ones that put their hands on. They can be practicing the thing, praying 5 times a day, going to Hajj, do all of that, and drug deal, and kidnap, and rob, and all the other things. I don't know any Christians that go up there, preach, getting baptized, turning back to white or black Jesus, and doing these things. Do you get what I'm saying? And remember, they've all got hadith and quotations from it. They would say, well, the Sahaba, they robbed the enemy. And that's what they're doing. They robbed the kuffar. Do you get what I'm saying? They kidnapped the kuffar. They've got all kinds of excuse for it. So we need to be careful. We need to watch what these people are about. Do you get me? Because we know what Black Christianity looks like. So when Black people are going to church, we understand because we grew up in it and they Blackanized it. This thing specifically has non-Blacks at the head of it, going back 1,300 years as an anti-black ideology. Do you get me? So yeah, Brother Kale.
I do remember what Brother Kale speaking. I do remember it wasn't too, maybe not too long ago. I remember there were some black brothers who were, I think they were arguing with non-black Muslims about something. And I remember there was some black brothers, or maybe one or two in particular, from maybe it was Birmingham or Bristol. I wasn't too sure. It's so long ago. And yeah, they were making like, you know, they decided to join the YouTube world to make defensive threats against other black brothers, and they really wanted them to know that I am a Muslim. I'm against your stuff, and there was no synchronization. There was no understanding. They were full like, you know, you're arguing with my brother in the faith, so we want to come and harm you or whatever it might be. You know, I remember jumping in, talking, saying, well, you know, come, brothers, like, you know, we don't need to, you know, get this kind of way, whatever. And it's like they were automatically offended, and they seem to be almost like, I don't know. I guess I kind of see it. I could use religious term, but I generally see it in the training of anything that is highlighted as pro-black or black-led. You do get a section of black people who seem to be pro the opposite of it, and they want the world to know it.
That's right, yeah.
But that's fine. So let me just say this. Let me just say this, because I think I might have been there at the time. One thing you notice is, though, and this is what I keep saying about the distinguishing between the so-called Abrahamic faiths. Any black Christians that are there seeing you do that will still try and call you to Christ. No one's seeking to set you up to physically and violently stop you from saying what you're saying from the Christian world, bruv. Do you understand? So do you get my point, Brother Rap? You have to remember.
You've been very clear since I've met you that, you know, you have a particular you know, truth, and you've lived your history. And when it comes to me,
your experience too, have you not experienced the same thing elsewhere, in the park and elsewhere?
Oh no, I agree with everything you're saying. I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it before and after, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I said, through viewing it, you know, we devise different strategies. Brother Kel is trying to push, because different, like for example, like, you know, I've met black Mormons, and you know, it's a lot of, maybe you have met these black Mormons before, but obviously I'm slightly concerned when you study the history of Mormonism, particularly where, you know, black people couldn't achieve priesthood. So I think what that meant for Mormons, that they couldn't get to heaven in that particular faith, and they could only get to heaven as a servant. And this kind of stuff. Why
would that bother you? Because I'm saying any black Mormons, you know, I'm saying most of the people that join Christian groups, it's more because they're looking for love. They're looking for a group to be part of. They want, you know, as he's saying, I would say endorphins as well, and all the rest of the serotonin release, all these chemicals, they get it from Christianity. Do you get what I'm saying? That esoteric, whatever, you know, enhancement of chakras and whatever else, right? They get that in Christianity. So when you're saying that, I'm saying you don't have groups of Mormons, you know, flying from England to go and do jihad or whatever for another group of Mormons. Do you get what I'm saying? And right. Joining groups like ISIS. So I'm saying those people, if we set up parting, those people in the Mormon group would join. We don't need to, I'm suggesting we don't need to worry about them. These are the ones we need to worry about, because they are the ones that are physically on the ground. Just think of it this way: the whole planet has changed because of this one group. And black people are the ones who have joined and made it the way it is.
Yeah, but Brother Isa,
Brother
Isa, all due respect to you, right? It's not just the Abrahamic faiths; it's the non-Abrahamic faith. But here's the thing, brother. Realistically, in political science, no African descendant should ever commit or have any alliance on non-African people in religion. They have demonstrated historically that we're not going to follow the religion properly, and we're going to do anything to disrupt by any means necessary on extreme levels. That's the reality of it. So what we want to try and do, brother, we don't want them to have a commitment to people who are not even practicing the religion correctly, regardless of whether they are in the Abrahamic faith or not, right? So we can understand that when they do come amongst us and they, you know, say things like, oh, you're not a member of the religion, you know, you're going to hellfire, or you're not the blood of the cross, all these things, the African descendant can say, well, this is foolish because you're not really practicing religion anyway. You bring racism in the religion. So, you know, go along. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what the curriculum is.
No, I hear you, my brother. But what I'm saying is,
Right.
let me give you my observation of the Pan-African movement. It's like a snail, right? It's like a tortoise or a snail.
Right.
It kind of reacts to everything. It doesn't seem to be able to project, but it doesn't seem to be able to observe what's around it because of the same thing you're talking about, the dopamines, the feeling of the vibe, you know, of certain, let's say, so-called African traditions in which they wear traditional Muslim garments that don't look like the others and whatever. There's some sort of vibe, probably through Malcolm X, right? That they get a kind of love for Malcolm X's version of Islam or whatever, right?
Right.
Orthodox Islam. But I'm saying that we're dealing with practicality on the ground. When you have a certain amount of time, which we all have limited, then where should it be focused? What I'm saying to you is there isn't that many black people in the Mormons, and the ones that are in there, they're not really, you know, they're not focusing on us. They want to go to heaven. Good for them. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm talking about people that are put in, when you go throughout certain parts of Africa, who are the bleeding terrorists? Who are the ones kidnapping women, raping and burning and blowing up? It's only one blooming group. And I don't get this Pan-African got time for bloody Mormons. Where's the Mormons? Are some little speck on the head of this thing. Do you get what I'm saying? Christianity, again, if you look at it, they're the ones, again, that would give us support. But this thing here is governed by these people. It has a strict regime of what you call a chain of command, a chain of understanding, a chain of narration. So you would read a verse in the Quran, you are not allowed to interpret it. You have to go to Sheikh so-and-so and so-and-so and blah, 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 who interpreted the opinion of so-and-so in this day and time and blah, blah. And it always ends up in the favor of non-blacks. And that's why I'm saying you see the change that Pan-Africans seek to desire, that they want to have. If you focus on this group, you would get it in no time.
I don't think that's because, brother, it's not just that group though. Because you said
no, brother, hold on. You didn't hear what I said. I'm not saying they're the only group. I'm saying if you change this group, the ripple effects on everything else would change.
Yeah, but brother, we don't want to change that. But the thing is, brother, we don't want to change, right? The religion, brother.
No, the mentality, brother. Listen to what I'm saying.
But people brother, are in it. If you can allow me, brother, if you can allow me, all due respect, you're right. Here's the thing, brother, right? Me as a Pan-Africanist, right?
Yeah.
I do not take religion off non-African people, right? It's understood. Do you understand, brother?
That's not true, but go on.
Oh, okay, brother. It's finished. You
quoted the Hebrew Islamic tree of life last time and called it African spirituality. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, brother. What I'm saying is, brother, is that if it is not Pan-Africanized, right, then I'm not interested. And I'll tell you why. You mentioned Malcolm X. A lot of the Pan-Africanist freedom fighters, but they were in those Abrahamic religions, and they were in they practice Ethan, etc. But what makes them very, 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 very brilliant is that they all practice their race first, brother. That was the thing. That was the top of the heap of everything. You understand, right?
But that's my point. This is what I'm saying to you. With all the other elements, let me put it to you this way. Imagine those teaching. Now, I'm going to have to say this as a clause, whatever. I'm not suggesting that black people in a pro-black version of Islam commit terrorist acts. But I'm saying, imagine if that vehemency was put, let's say, for Pan-Africanism. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm saying if that dedication, when a man got up for Fajr for the first prayer in the morning, before the sunrise, and he's praying to Allah and making dua to Allah for the Pan-African agenda to be manifested. and the next prayer and every single prayer and all his life was under that. He understood everything in the Quran from a Pan-African perspective, brother. That you're not. I don't think you understand what I'm saying. That thing would be manifested, and you lot are spreading your energy everywhere else.
Yeah,
Nothing
but
like this.
Pan-Africanism is not based upon that type of ideology, brother, or energy, brother. What we want to do, brother, is focus on our people to separate your religion and your culture. That's all we want to do, brother. Honestly, it's just as simple as that. You know what I mean? You can be a Muslim, you can practice Ifa, whatever you want, but when we are organizing,
that's not true. Tell me how Ifa is going to produce the results. What you see,
brother. What I said was right. You got to listen to what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
We are talking about organizing our people, right? To bring out that we can have full control in everything that governs the world. This is what we want, brother. We want power. Do you understand, right? That's what we want. So that means, brother, in economics, right, it must be your race first, not your religion, your race.
Brother. Listen to, I just gave you the example, and I said the person now, just the same way how a Pakistani, he doesn't get up and think about a Bangladeshi. He doesn't get up when he's doing his prayers, his business thing. He doesn't think about the Muslims in Saudi Arabia and elsewhere. He might do that little charity thing on the side. Each group thinks about their own. It's only us who don't. And I'm saying they're always making headway. So when you keep telling me this thing, I'm saying there is no incompatibility with this thing. When you say race first, it's intertwined. But I'm saying their focus is not on our agenda, or not pro-black or Pan-African agenda.
But brother, the Pakistani brother, he may think about his Pakistani people first, but they still understand that when I'm around Bangladeshis or when I'm around Indian people and stuff, right, and African people are there, we're going to unite against them. You see what I mean?
No, bro, you mentioning that, you're just supporting my point. I'm saying to you, listen, they all unite. That one thing they have in common, whether consciously, subconsciously, whether it's stated, not stated, is when it comes to black people, make sure they don't unite, and we can all put down our differences and our swords against each other when it comes to black. That's the bottom line for them. That's etched into their DNA. Simple as that, right? They don't even, some of them don't even, most of them don't even know why they ask the questions they ask or make the maneuvers that they do. They just, something just prods them and drives them to interrupt whatever black people are doing.
But is that from the religion? Does the religion tell them that they can do that?
I would suggest the religion suggests they can't, but their culture, their Asian culture. So for instance,
Asian. Damn.
Here's an example.
Here's an example. Great example. Yeah.
Brother, who's that?
It's an Asian. It's an Asian.
It's an Asian. All right, chill, Mr. Asian. Brother Rat Raven will be a witness to this. We will be, for instance, in the park speaking about black issues. And an Asian, for instance, Orthodox, so-called Muslim, will walk up and have his say, you know what, Rat Raven played an example last week. The guy will come up and try and interfere. They're always trying to ask questions. And then they want to tell us there's no racism in Islam, there's no this, all kind of different thing. And we're like, okay, what's this whole conversation is how we sort out our problems. And they don't have any real answers to the questions that we're asking, right? In regards to what's it got to do with them? What input do they have? And they will even say, well, we want to help. We're saying, brother, we don't need your help. So they don't actually know why, but they have a drive to interrupt and interfere.
You know why, brother? Because they're synchronized in anytime black people are trying to organize, right? We're going to disrupt it. That is part of their political science, brother. That's the reality of it. They are synchronized.
Okay. Kel and Isa.
Two favorite words, man. Synchronized.
You keep saying, you know, their political science, brother, but I'm saying to you, there's nothing in their politics that says that. Sorry, brother. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, bro.
A claim has been made. Obviously, we've got a guest trailer. You identified as non-black, so this show is usually set up just for black people. However, we can allow guests when we're making case studies.
I mean, we're black here in a black and white world, bro. Are you mad?
Okay, hold on. So
in a black and white world, you're black.
And I see free. I'd like us all to be on code and codified. So the claim was made.
Just because you don't recognize the.
I'm going to mute you for a second, just for case study purposes.
All right,
the claim was made that non-black people, Asians, this is non-black general, whenever constructive talks happen, they will join any panel to cause confusion. They won't have any sense of respect or anything like this. Now, brother Triller, can you confirm that or deny that?
Okay, can I answer in the way I want to answer?
Well, as long as you're respectful.
Yeah, because are you trying to force an answer out of me?
We try to be constructive here. It's something that your culture should promote. Let's go.
Okay, cool. Look, I'd appreciate it firstly if you didn't keep muting me, right? If you ask me, right, not to speak, I won't speak, right? Yeah, because it's something, you know what I mean, that we have like in our culture, generally speaking, like in the UK culture, for example, I can acknowledge what you're saying and I'll respect that, right? So when it comes down to it, you get me, right? You asking me a question, I feel like I should answer it in the way I want to answer it. You keep on muting me, and I feel like, you know what, I want to say something, might intervene in your conversation, right? Do you know what I mean? I feel like I'm entitled to do so, regardless. You get me? So, like, at the same time, you're more than happy. I'm more than happy for you to cut me off or interrupt me. Do you know what I mean? But whatever.
So we're gonna mute you. So what it is, this might be a form of trolling, which is fine because
I'm not.
We're using it as a case study to prove. So right now we're trying to prove that non-black
you're
people, that non-black people actually are not as disrespectful and collectively don't have a code of conduct to mistreat black people. But Triller, who's identified as Asian, might be actually practicing that now. Now what we're saying is we're actually
I identify.
And right now he might be using the confusion tactic of saying he identifies as black. This when we look at a case study.
This is your panel, bro.
So what happens is sometimes
you've been chatting the same thing.
So what tends to happen is you see them come in, and then when you actually have definitions like black and white and stuff, the person who identifies as Pakistani, Muslim, or Asian, they then say, "Oh no, I'm actually a black person in the black and white world." So Triller, would you like to answer the question, or would you like to continue trolling?
I want to answer your question, right? But I want to have a conversation. Is that okay?
Go ahead. You can. Go
ahead.
Right?
When it comes down to it, mate, yeah? Look, end of the day, right? We're having a conversation. I've just met you guys, right? I don't know your names, right? I know Kale, right? I've spoken to him before briefly, right? I would like to speak to him more, right? And when it comes down to it, sure, you get me, right? I like to have a bit of fun with the conversation because, you know, it's not too serious. I don't know you. You're the host of the channel. What's your name, bro?
Well, you can read it there, but what I say is the question.
I'm on my phone.
That's what is family. This is
I'm on my phone, bro. I can't see.
And the thing is, this trolling technique of not answering questions.
It's not a trolling technique.
To mistreat black
people.
Because we're using it as a case study, we're gonna have to remove you. But the question is, why have you
that's fine. That's fine. But why are you intimidated to have a conversation, bro? What's wrong with you? I've been there for 5 seconds. I want to.
So family, this is
bro. You
allies that many.
You don't want to have a conversation.
Look at the consistency now.
Have I swore at you?
Watch this. Why have you joined a?
Have I insulted you? I want to have a conversation. Yeah. Why you keep muting me, bro? What's wrong with you? Why don't you just chill out for a second and let me talk to you for a minute? Let's have a conversation. You don't want to mute black people, do you? Because you know why? You're racist, isn't it? That's why. You're racist. You want to mute the Asian person. You know why? Because you're racist. But you don't want to mute the black person. You understand? Because you're racist. Yeah? 100% racist. And we can talk.
So we're going to
talk about it.
Hold on, Triller. What if he's racist? What's wrong with that?
What's wrong with you being racist? Everything.
Okay. So if your whole community, the culture is anti-black, how much work are you doing to stop that anti-blackness in your community?
So our whole community isn't anti-black, right? Well, your community, right, whatever that is trying to promote that.
No, answer the question. I said the culture of your community. Culture.
Okay, what community are you talking about?
Right. So whether it be Bangladeshi, Pakistani, whatever it be, right? South Asians, right? They are generally anti-black, anti-dark skin.
Generally, you're stereotyping by saying, right, the whole Asian community are generally anti-black. They're not. They're not. Because I told you, in a black and white world, right, we are black. All right.
Do you understand the word culture? Did you hear what I said?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I heard you. Yeah.
Are you saying the culture is not anti-black? Is that what you're saying?
No, I just said it. Yeah, the majority of the community, right? You go to India. I'm from. My parents are from India, right? I go there, right, frequently, and when I go there, I see a lot of black people, right? And there are a lot of people that are dark skinned, right? And they are not treated, right, in a bad way that people basically perceive them to be treated generally in this, in certain like conversations that we're having online and by certain people, and how they're perceived to be by certain groups. But yeah, generally speaking, we're treated, you know what I mean, like everybody else is treated. It's mostly a class thing. It's not a race thing. It's not a colorist thing either. It happens, but I'm not saying it's a majority. No.
So you're saying in the language, in the general use of the language, you don't find people saying, well, that girl was ugly, and they're referring to her dark skin. They don't even need to say her dark skin. They just say she's ugly, or they might say she's a color. And
I mean, me personally, no. I'm from India. Hold on, I'm from India. Go on, carry on.
The culture. We're not talking about you personally. We're talking about the culture, right? Okay. Pakistani, Bangladeshi, South Asian, whatever. And I'm saying I know there's very dark ones as well. And I'm saying there is a lot of skin bleaching cream used there based upon that culture. So it comes from the ancient, Hindu Vedic system, and when the white Aryans came there and conquered the black Indians, blah, 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 etc. So what I'm saying is right now, as it is today, are you saying that you don't have a predominant favor in the culture in which the use of language is so general and natural and normal that dark-skinned people have just understood it to be normal, that if you're dark-skinned, you're generally going to be considered ugly?
Okay, cool. So I've had this conversation many occasions, right? And when it comes down to it, okay, I'm not going to disacknowledge the fact that it exists. It definitely exists, right? Whether it's predominant, all right, and whether it's accepted, right, in terms of like being, widely spread. Yeah, I don't think that is the case. I think that, you get me, regardless, in India, for example, right? I mean, you heard Tupac's lyrics, right? The darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. You get me, right? So it's the same with our culture. The darker the people are in India, the less mixed up they are. I come from. I'm from a fair. Hold on, hear me out. Yeah.
Hold on, help me. I'm gonna mute because I'm the host. It is the show. So because you're new to it, you don't might understand the show.
Yeah, please carry on.
Okay, very quickly, we've asked you one particular question. Why have you, an Asian person, joined a panel where the show and the broadcast about Black Betterment? Why have you joined? Just
because I want to speak to different people all around the world.
About what? About what?
About lots of different topics.
Well, you can join a Hell's Angel group or heavy metal and talk to them about their music. We're talking about solutions to black problems. So
yeah, and you think that I don't have probably more black friends than you do?
Yeah, Trilla.
Good for you, mate. And I feel sorry for them.
We're gonna beat you now, so we're gonna beat you, brother. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, you do that. You do that. No, that's
very well, man.
So, it was a very good case study. And what I'm saying is, so everything that was said happened. I know, and some brothers and sisters out in the forum, please forgive us. Sometimes when we do things, it might seem weird and wacky, but sometimes we have to have case studies. We have to show and demonstrate the consistency of the disruption, and it happens. It happens in the digital world, the physical world, and the spiritual world. So just be patient. But I'll have your question, and we big up the brothers on the panel who remain calm and collected and ask precise questions. What you realize is what anti-black racists do is they use time wasting as a weapon. And what you realize is nothing was actually asked. And this same pattern in the digital space, we see in the physical space of Speaker's Corner. And then it will then try to change a new narrative that, they actually are black and my personal experience, but actually nothing will be done. But then if you let them speak a bit longer, sometimes you have to give them an hour to just ramble, then they'll end by saying, yes, all my family hate you guys. And if we were to marry you, there'll be a problem. It usually comes out later, but they start the conversation with Roll One and Black of the Berry, and they quote Tupac and other rappers and this kind of stuff. But then,
definitely a lot of method acting going on there. Method acting.
Rap, one of the things it seems you keep mentioning like online and then Speaker's Corner, right? So imagine if, let's say, a market stall or even shops or food place or whatever comes out of whatever you're doing, because you're talking about the talk at the moment, how they interrupt the talks. Now, what will happen when you manifest some economical, some things that are running the economics, some business? Do you get what I'm saying? Because one of the things I'm saying is to study the people as to how they are with each other. That would be a great indication of how wicked they would like to be towards you. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I'm saying when they dispute amongst themselves, they have certain tactics that they use, right? Whether it be slander, whether it be turn up with baseball bats, whatever the hell they do, right? When they're amongst themselves in the UK and outside the UK. So just think, what are they like? Because a lot of the things you're saying is interruption verbally and so on, but then it becomes physical. And I'm saying see not be focusing on the people.
So I was on a panel the other day, and there was a European lady, and I think when we were talking about black economics, I think this individual was saying, "Oh, so you're telling me that you're not gonna hire me?" And then she started to do the whole like European tears, white woman tears, and then she started getting aggressive. And this usually works against black men. Many black men like this kind of stuff, whatever. But yeah, so we're well aware that non-black people, whether European, Asian, or Arab, those who have contempt for black people, will do anything to sabotage progress. But you got to understand that is the very nature of many of these people. So even though you might see a talking intro, that what they really want to do is just stop all form of progress. It's because of disdain, and some of them it's so codified in their culture that they can't articulate why they do this. That's why when we're asking the individual jumped in, why have you come? What are you trying to achieve? He couldn't articulate. Like actually, it's almost like a spiritual thing for many of them. That's almost like it's a spirit, like a demonic spiritual thing where
it's a jinn.
Yeah. It's almost like they're controlled. It's like they're controlled to stop progress. And this is by any means. Go ahead.
Yeah. See, what I've noticed that on the online discussions, I've spoke with Trilla before on Veli's channel. Usually in the online community, it's really set up for entertainment. You see, people are coming to have a talk to different people. Nobody, very rare does anybody say, look, this is serious. There's no joking here. This is a serious meeting. There's no room for anything else. This is serious. This is not an entertainment period. This is about black betterment. It's not a bit of entertainment and a bit of serious. You got to set up the standard. That's what I'm saying. When you got to plant the stake. So yes, sometimes we can meet together and we have a fun chat and everybody can come in and have a chat. Yes, but this is a serious. You got to state your seriousness. Plant the stake. And if you're not being serious, let people know. Well, look, we're relaxing a bit. And same thing happened to me today. I was walking on the street, and then somebody says, pulled up and put their hand out. It's a black African guy. He's about older than me. He looked older than me. Anyway, he put his hand out. He says, "Look, I've seen you around, up down, and I just thought you're just wanted to say hi." And he put his hand out. I didn't put my hand out to shake his hand because I was watching him, from head to foot. I said, "What?" Because I'm very suspicious. So I said, "Oh yeah, well, good evening to you. Okay, so you see me around, yeah, and so, well, no light chat. I'm not on it. What did you stop and put your hand out to me for?" Yeah, I'm 100% on it all the time. And then he said, "Okay, and this, and this." Okay, so now we said, but before you shake my hand, I want to know what's going to come out your mouth. What you stopped me for? Is it going to be a proper conversation? Yeah, okay, I'm interested. Okay, so then we had a wonderful conversation, but I set the tone. I'm not talking dilly dally. I'm not all over the place.
Well, Brother Raven always sets the tone out doing that. He was doing a case study, and it's very consistent in his the black betterment. We could say that he set the tone and stuff, and I think he was
serious. That's right. So when Trilla came on, he says, "Well, I just want to come and talk to people." So he wants to enjoy the entertainment. So straight away, it's a clash there, isn't it?
Well, you have to remember, brother, it's like this. If there is a conversation about Pakistani politics or religious, something to do with serious religion, and there's probably about 10 going right now, right? Live right now. He's not going to join them and think, oh, I just want to have a chat and see what's going on. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right. That's right.
Right. Yeah. It's true. It's true.
That's what's happening right now. All of these other Asians and whites, they're having a conversation about the subject. He's not going to join them and say, "Oh, I just want to have a chat."
Right.
Yeah. But he will come to our team because obviously he was listening. Do you get me? And this is the thing. They're always to me, it's a pre-program. And basically, the programs like
black people can't be talking about anything serious. Black people aren't serious. They can't be serious.
It's not that. It is. They understand we can be, but what it is, they're so used to and always want to be the overseers and the directors of what we do, because they always want to assess. They always want to assess whether what we're doing is at risk and a threat to them.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's economically,
You're right.
Whatever it is. It's consistent. But the thing is, you have to observe, this is also how they deal with each other on a different level. Like, they constantly are in competition with each other. And this is what I'm saying. We also have to see how they are amongst themselves to know the potential of how worse it can be for us.
You see, brother, what you did, the analysis was amazing. And then you went under like that with one another, brother. If they're like that with one another, why are they still in power with their racism, brother? You see?
Brother, 100%. These people, trust me, one of the reasons they've been so successful is because they speak another language. And I've realized that the thing to do with time and efficiency, in which they don't have to go into a corner to have a conversation about us and anything else they want to talk about, whether about us or not about us, when we're present right there. So if we could be working in the same place, it'd be a factory, it could be a shop, it could be whatever it is. They can have whatever conversation they're having, and we're right there, and they're efficient because they can continue speaking and get stuff done quickly, and we don't know. We're limited to English, and if they know English, either we're going to say what we're saying and therefore enlighten them of our plans, or we have to wait. It means we lose time. Do you see what I'm saying? And this is, trust me, this is.
So one other thing as well is the unsynchronized enablers that they follow on many of these black channels. Because they go on so many black channels where they're enabled, where their outrage and their upset is quenched and their opinions are valid, regardless of how anti-black their views might be. They culturally get used to this concept. I was actually on the panel. I was invited on a panel the other day on I forgot the Clubhouse, and it was one gentleman who set up something about, are all white people racist? That was the nature of the question. And I had a Norwegian white gay man there, I think it was, talking about, well, in Norway, they are racist, he finds, but in his gay bar, because he's not racist, they find that straight black men go to the gay bar. It was a very interesting story he was telling. And then there was this gentleman who heard this, a black man who opened the channel. And he was like, oh, my days, you should run for president. If I come to Norway, I'm coming to your gay bar. He was very excited by this. And I was saying, brother, there's a subservience that we have in our culture where we're so used to people treating us 2 out of 10 that when they do 4 out of 10, it's like a double. It's amazing. This works quite good. And then when I said this, he literally started screaming. He started screaming and going, ah, and then he goes, I don't want you to say anything that's going to upset our guest, and then kick me out. But what I'm saying is this kind of it's not even pandering because it's actually it's more, it's more, I don't know, it's looking to belong isms and that kind of stuff. A lot of these trolls who will come here, who come all over the place, they get empowered by black people.
That's right. That's right.
And that's why I'm looking to synchronize with black brothers who are pretty firm in this is what we're about. And when they come in, we don't get funny or thing. It's all on code. And why are you here? Can you say why you're here? Goodbye. Move on. Case study. That's it.
Yeah. And that demonstrates the seriousness. You say, okay, why are you here? Well, I'm just, just chilling. No, this is not a chill out zone. At this moment, we're having,
I find they're useful though. This is one of the things I always said, that we can, when they come on, they want to be relevant of some sort, and we can just use them as the guinea pig to demonstrate what we're saying. So we ask them a few questions, they answer the thing, and then exactly like you did there, brother.
It's a case, and this is what we're always going to do. So
case study.
But the one thing I would say as well, unfortunately, a lot of these brothers, a lot of these individuals, I should say, come from brothers panel and sisters panels where whenever you have a pro-black person go on these panels and you talk about Black Betterment, Pan-Africanism, or anything pro-black, you'll have a slew of black people who will be the opposite of everything you're saying. Yeah, and it's almost like they're seeing this loathing for black unity, and then it's like. But then what I always notice as well, which is always very interesting, whenever you have two black people arguing over the best way to help black people and this kind of stuff, you never get them jump and go, guys, don't fight. You're one people.
That's right.
They never do it. Like even the homosexual man who was telling me a story. I was giving this homosexual man the other day. He was giving me a story of he was talking about these European men who went to the gay bar, or whatever, and they were using these N-word terms for black people. And he said, just so you know, in Norway there's different type of N-words, and I don't think they meant it the hard way. I thought they meant it a different way. And what I said is, notice, brothers and sisters, how this man is talking very politely and kindly about these racist men and trying to make sure that they are not to blame, this kind of stuff, right? Yeah. He's on code, He ain't gonna come by the way, these guys, the question was, are most people racist? That was what the forum was called. And he said that everyone who is in the land has to go to his pub to get away from racism. So by his own testimony, that would say that at least in that land they are. But the host, black brother, he didn't want to hear nothing like that. He wanted to vote for him. He said, if you were in America, we would vote for you. I want to come to Norway and drink at your homosexual pub, this kind of stuff. I said, brother, this is quite a lot you're doing. This is quite a lot you're doing for a person who just says that he corrected someone from using the wrong type of N-word. It is what it is. This
well, there is an individual specifically called Khan who's on Truluminati Live, who seems to interact with Kel quite a bit. And I always observe that when it comes to any blacks that come against Shakara and Brother Kale, this guy will sit there as if he's clapping his hands in excitement. Yes, and always throw in some little something all the time. Anything to do with pro-blackness, which excludes them. Yeah, all the time. It's like you can see you can hear the excitement and the joke and the laugh when another black person comes against them. It's like, yeah. All the time.
That's right. Method acting. That's why I was letting brother.
Well done to you, brothers, for noticing that. I would say this though. We always love all our brothers and sisters, and we support them in their constructive works, and we want them to do well in life. But unfortunately, some of these brothers, they're not equipped for this level of kind of like communication and strategy. Because if you're around anyone who's constantly undermining, not in a bad way, even though the outcome is bad, but everything you say, there's always a what if, and black people can't come together, and everything's fine, and and then what they'll do is another thing you notice as well, the individual who was happy amongst the Norwegian homosexual pub owner, he was, what he decided to do, goes, I've noticed that people like you are Malcolm X and people like me are Martin Luther King. This is what he said. And then he said Malcolm X was also part of the Nation of Islam. And, Martin Luther King was talking about integration while Malcolm X didn't. But now the Nation of Islam are using words from Iran Hubbard and this kind of stuff. So what they do is they like to cherry pick and really expand, and they'll negate 100 years of hard work. And they'll highlight something they perceive as an error to be the face of a company or an institution. And when people do this, like I said, individuals, they want to undermine Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad. I'm saying, look, all humans make mistakes. No one is super perfect. But if you're a person who dedicate their life and they die for black people, but yet when you talk with them, all you can say is, I believe this man wears a blue shoe, and if he wears a blue shoe, that means he thinks aliens are gonna take over. That is really stuff that's like, is that what you got from this brother's 50 years of work? You know what I mean? And then you ask him this question: tell me one good thing this brother has done or this sister's done, and then there's hesitation. Just like when we asked the individual Asian brother who came in here, but we said, "Why are you here? What is it you here?" It's just talking. And unfortunately, this seems to be a pattern that unsynchronized Black people might have as well. Like they actually don't have anything to say.
That's right.
You know, and
That's right.
and you know what I mean. So we have to be very aware of that, but we have to love our brothers and sisters. We have to show them, like, you know, we are here to do certain things, and this is why I promote a form of what I call qualifism or elitism. And what that is in order for you to do stuff, one, the most important part is you have to be willing. It might sound simple, but it's the hardest part for an unsynchronized person to be, is willing to do the work, willing to talk favorably about Black people, willing to not judge people by the unsynchronized, but by the synchronized, willing to always try to be solution based when you're helping Black people. You see, that's something that this is the part one. The part two is learn skills that is valuable for Black people. There you go. Those are the two things. And unfortunately, you find these brothers not only or sisters, not only do they not are willing to be synchronized, they actually don't have any kind of skill set that can be beneficial. And I mean that in the most kindest way.
Can I say this? That because I'm thinking about what Brother Kale was saying earlier on in the beginning of the conversation about this left foot forward and the right foot forward, that kind of physical codification to go with the mental and spiritual codification. And then we was talking about the offline and the online, and then how would that principle be applied online? And it appears that, correct me if I'm wrong, that how it would be applied online is that when Brother Raven lets on another guest, then he wants to ask the guest a few questions before allowing the guest to join the conversation. So why did you come on, and so on and so on. So at that point, whilst Brother Raven's talking to the new guest who's just come onto the panel, everybody should be absolutely quiet. Yeah, left foot back. Yeah, so absolutely. That's why I never said a thing. I was just to wait for Brother Raven to finish with his the intros, or or whatever he was doing, to see if the new guest could be invited into the room, so that everybody else don't ask them any questions, don't make any comments, just silence and wait to see if Brother Raven is saying yes, you're in, or no, thank you, you're out.
Yeah.
That's right, brother. Yeah.
One thing you have to remember as well, and I think Brother Kel highlighted it, and this is great case study we do at the moment, right? Is when you have the Pan-Africanists or the Black Betterers or the B1s on certain panels, and the non-Asians, the non-Blacks, the Asians, the Arabs, or the whites, or whoever it might be, whatever collective group they're wanting disunity. Whenever there's arguments and insults, like you probably can't see on their screen, but they're smiling. And you have to be very wary of this. You have to be very wary of this. So that's why definitely having some form of discipline. We start with the 4D values. Is important, and allowing someone to introduce themselves and stating their purpose, allowing the host to unpack them, and see if they're here for any kind of attractive reason is definitely important.
Security. Yes.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah. I'm just getting a message now. Yeah. So, brothers and sisters, family, we're actually 18 minutes past our time. It was a great build. Well, we're gonna end. So, would you guys like to have your final thought?
Yes, I say yes. It was a great session this evening, and I think I've learned. I've learned. I've got plenty to think about, because I was thinking about what would be halfway between the Nation of Islam at Speaker's Corner and Brother Raven's open style, and Brother Kel answered it perfectly. Some physical stances to go with the mental and the spiritual. Yes, very good, very good, excellent.
Appreciate that, Elder. Yeah, just exactly what the Elder said. The strategies of physical, left foot forward, right foot back, assessing the information, having the proof of resistance, and to tackle the unethical code of conduct of those who are in religions that came out of Africa.
And Brother Isa?
Yeah, no, definitely brilliant. Yeah, all input was brilliant today. And obviously the case study. He came right in time, didn't he? So yeah.
His plan. So it's like we set him up, isn't it? Yeah. Wow. All right, family. All right, family. So for anyone, next week we have it again, the 98th show. Let's just take this time to pick up all the brothers and sisters who spend their time to try to help the people out. The thing is, I've been in so many talks, and what sometimes I do forget that it can actually be quite draining, and it can also be like, in certain times, a lack of love endeavor where you find even your own people trying to sabotage your progress and not understanding the importance of betterment or to move forward as a collective unit. So I just want to thank everyone who does that, and know that if I come across you, all the skills I have, I will use it to uphold your platform, and we'll try to find more synchronized brown sisters to try to find solutions. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate the panel. And until next week, everyone, practice black betterment. Have a good day, and we'll see you next week. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, man.